friends, how are you today? My name is Lisbeth, and on this channel I do my makeup while I tell a story. Well, I usually tell a story when I have a story. Today I do have a story. So, but I am self-trained. I'm not a professional, but I do like doing makeup and playing around with it, doing different looks. And I am working on getting my makeup certification, or makeup artist certification. There we go. That's what I was looking for. But yeah, so that's what I do. I do my makeup and I tell a story. And since it's December and I'm trying to get back on schedule, or I'm trying to get on schedule with my videos and makeup things, I am posting every day this month with different looks and stories. The past couple of days I haven't really had a story, so I've just chatted and sorry, apparently I need to get my thoughts together a little bit. Chatted and done my makeup, but like I said, today I do have a story, and I am going with a Christmas theme because I love Christmas. And today sorry, don't know what's going on with my voice today, but I didn't get my makeup done before the hubby came home from work today, because I'm doing it a little later than I usually do it. But the past couple of days I really should have filmed his reactions to my Christmas makeup, because he's a little bit of a Grinch sometimes with Christmas stuff. It's not that he doesn't like Christmas, the parts of Christmas he just isn't that fond of, I guess. But and like the first day that I did it, he told me to go full Christmas, and so I totally did. And he was not, he knew he had asked me to do it, and so he accepted it, but at the same time he's like, he kept saying something. So I got a phone call, and then I come back in and I start just doing my makeup. I completely forgot what I was doing. That was awesome. Anyways, hi, I'm back. But yeah, he kept saying it's like being punched in the face with Christmas. So I feel like mission accomplished, right? But I decided maybe I'd tone it down a little bit for him, since he was so sweet about having me do full Christmas, because he knew it was something that I'd like to do. I'm still going to be doing Christmas and winter looks. Like yesterday I did a winter look, and I realized that the look I did yesterday, those colors aren't the best with my skin tones, so it's not something that I would normally do or wear around, but I had a lot of fun doing it, and I still thought it turned out pretty. But yeah, so let's jump into the story now. So this is a story that's kind of been on my mind a lot lately. I mean, things aren't quite this bad, but I feel like this year, Christmas and stuff is going to look a little different for a lot of people. It's been a rough year. And this is a story. It's an old story. So you might have heard it. You might not have heard it. But either way, it's the story. It is called The Gift of the Magi. Ooh, only a little bit with that, don't you? And so this story starts out, and but I know the story, but it's been a while. since I've read it or heard it, so please bear with me. $1.87, and that was all. And 60 cents of that was in pennies. Right, just hold on. She had. Sorry, apparently I'm popular right now. And 60 cents of it was in pennies. Pennies saved one and two at a time by bulldozing the grocer and the vegetable man and the butcher until one's cheeks burned with silent humiliation that the dealing gave. And for parts of this, since it's an old story, I'm going to be paraphrasing parts of it. Man, this is darker than I thought. Oh well, we'll see what we can do. Anyway, sorry. So 3 times Della, $1.87. 3 times Della had counted. And the next day was Christmas. Clearly there was nothing left to do but flop down and bawl. Flop down on the raggedy old couch and bawl. Now, Della and her husband James, known as Jim to everybody who knew him, lived in an $8 furnished flat, $8 a week furnished flat. And hold on just a sec. Now, Jim had used to make $30 a week. But now the income had shrunk to $20 a week. So things were rather tight for them. And which again, I feel like I can emphasize with, maybe not quite to that degree, but I can empathize a little bit. And so, but the next day was Christmas, and Della needed to get a present for Jim, but she only had $1.87, and she wasn't sure what to do. Well, Jim and Della, they had 2 things that they prized most above anything else in the whole world. And these 2 things were, for Jim, it was an old pocket watch that had belonged to his father and his grandfather. And he took such good care of this watch. And he just loved this watch. And for Della, it was her hair. Now, Della had just this mass of long brown hair. It fell below her knees. And it was just, she took such good care of it, and these 2 things were their most prized possessions in the whole world. Well, Della happened to walk by a mirror, and she had her hair up, but when she walked by, she let her hair down, and she got an idea of where she could get more money for a present for Jim. For you see, hold on. So she took down her hair and let it all flow down below her knees. And then she went to a hairdresser. And but she had an idea of a present for Jim, and she wanted so badly to get him a nice present because she just loved her husband. She just loves her husband, and she wanted to get him a nice present. So she goes to a hairdresser who buys hair, and showed her hair and asked how much she would give her for her hair. So the woman felt her hair, measured it, and told her she would give her $20 for it. Well, so Della said, deal. I sat down, and 2 hours later had most of her hair cut off. Well, so then after she gets her hair cut off, Della goes to...
I'm suddenly in a much better mood.
Good.
They finally got the paperwork done. About time. About time. They finally got the paperwork done after 2 weeks and crying out. Does that satisfy your sensibilities, my most darling and gorgeous Ginger?
This is supposed to be a family-friendly channel, darling.
I don't give a...
Thank you for those beautiful turkey noises. Anyways, so, uh-oh, there's a flying cat. Are you doing that, or is he doing that? But anyway, so after she got a haircut, she went to hold on, sorry. She went ransacking the stores for Jim's present. And finally, she found it. And surely this present had been made for Jim and no one else. She had found him a beautiful gold chain watch fob for his old watch that he carried, or his old what is the word I'm looking for? Pocket watch. There we go. That he carried. And Jim was so proud of this pocket watch, but a lot of times he would check it on this slide, because currently the strap that he carried it on was just an old leather strap. So Della knew that if he had this beautiful chain strap, that he would be able to show off his pocket watch like he wanted to. And the strap cost her $21. So she went home with her 87 cents and this beautiful chain for Jim's watch, and she wrapped it up and waited excitedly for him to come home. And finally, and in the meantime, she got out her curling irons and curled her hair into some tight ringlets. Or she did the best she could with her short hair and curled it into tight ringlets around her head. Well, finally Jim comes home and he sees her and he just looks at her with just kind of a peculiar expression on his face. He doesn't really say anything for a few minutes, and he's like, "You cut off your hair?" And Jim and Della's and when Jim stepped in, and like I said, they've had a pay cut. They're struggling a little bit with money, and Jim's just wearing a raggedy overcoat. He needs a new coat, and he needs some gloves. He doesn't have any gloves. But he stepped in and just stared at her with an odd expression on his face for a few minutes, and after he closed the door, he just stared at her with an odd expression on his face. And he says, and Della's finally like, "Jim, darling, don't look at me like that. Wait, don't. I had my hair cut off, and I sold it because I couldn't have lived through Christmas without buying a present for you. And it'll grow out. You won't mind, will you? I just had to do it. My hair grows awfully fast. Say Merry Christmas, Jim, and let's be happy. You don't know what a beautiful gift I've got for you." "You cut off your hair?" asked Jim, as if he had not arrived at that fact yet, even after the hardest mental labor. "Cut it off and sold it," said Della. "Don't you like me as well anyhow? I'm me without my hair, aren't I?" Oh, and by the way, Jim and Della were both fairly young. Jim was 22. Yeah, so then they had that conversation, and so Jim just seems really shocked by the fact that Della has cut off her hair, and he just kind of keeps repeating it for a little bit, and like he just doesn't quite know what to do with the fact that Della has cut off her hair, her beautiful hair. And finally he seems to come out of his trance, and he grabs her in a hug and just holds her. And after he holds her, he grabs a package from out of his pocket and throws it on the table. And he's like, "Don't mistake me, Del. I don't think there's anything in the way of a haircut or a shave or a shampoo that would make me like my girl any less. But if you'll unwrap that package, you'll see what had me going there for a while." So Della unwraps the package, and she, hold on, sorry. So Della unwraps the package, and hold on. She and she lets out an ecstatic scream, which soon changes to feminine sob and hysterical tears and wells, which require Jim to come comfort her. Because now, what could be in this package that it would incite such a response in somebody? Well, let me tell you. Inside this package was this beautiful set of combs, hair combs, that Della had been just coveting for, or she had worshipped for so long. And they were beautiful, pure tortoise shell with jeweled rims, just the shade to wear in her beautiful washed hair. The hair that she didn't have much of anymore. And hold on a sec. And she knew that they were expensive combs, as she had craved and wished over them for a long time now. And she hold on a second. Yeah, so she had wanted these combs for a long time, and she finally has them, and she just cut off her hair. But she knew that they were expensive combs, because they hadn't been able to afford them. So she just hugged them to herself and looked up at Jim and said, "My hair grows so fast, Jim." And then Della leaped up and cried, "Oh no! Oh!" Jim had not yet seen his beautiful present. And, hey love. And so she held it out to him eagerly on her open palm. And she was like, "Isn't it dandy, Jim? I hunted all over town to find it." And you'll have to look at the time 100 times a day now. And now, give me your watch. I want to see how it looks on it. Well, instead of obeying, Jim just sat down on the couch with his hands behind his head and smiled at Della. Hold on. And smiled at Della. And he said, "Dell, let's put our Christmas presents away and keep them a while. They're too nice to use at present. I sold the watch to get the money for your combs. And now, suppose you put the chops on." Hi, Bob. How are you? You just making yourself at home? What was that? Go see. Go see. Gotta sniff everything. So, and that's the end of the story. So, the Magi, as you know, or if you don't know, they were wise men who brought gifts to the babe in the manger. And they... Hold on. And they... So they pretty much invented... A cat's head is in my way. Well, she's a lot cuter than I am, so I'm okay with it. But so they had invented the art of gift making. And being wise, their gifts were undoubtedly wise gifts. Hold on. I'm going to pause for a second, read the rest of this. Okay. The magi, as you know, were wise men, wonderfully wise men, who brought gifts to the babe in the manger. They invented the art of giving Christmas presents. Being wise, their gifts were no doubt wise ones, possibly bearing the privilege of exchange in case of duplication. And here I have lamely related to you the uneventful chronicle of two foolish children in a flat who most unwisely sacrificed for each other the greatest treasure of their house. But in a last word to the wise of these days, let it be said that of all who give gifts, these two were the wisest of all who give and receive gifts, such as they are wisest. Everywhere they are wisest. They are the magi. So these two, they loved each other and wanted to be able to give each other a nice gift, even though times were tight. They didn't have a lot of money. So they both sold what was the most precious to them. And by doing that, they made it kind of impossible to use the gift that the other person had gotten for them. But in spite of this, they were willing to sacrifice what they loved most to make the other person happy, to see the other person happy with a beautiful gift that they had given them. And I feel like that's a very poignant story. You know, I mean, sure, they kind of maybe canceled out each other's gift a little bit. Well, no, because it's the thought that counts. But they weren't able, well, they did because they weren't able to use the gifts that they had gotten each other. But hopefully, but there may come a time in the future where they will be able to use the gifts. But even if they never did, they still know that they gave each other wonderful gifts because they loved each other and sold the things that meant the world to them. I hope that times aren't hard enough or bad enough for you, for us all, that this kind of scenario happens. Not because presents are the most important thing, because they aren't. Honestly, if this scenario does happen, it's the thought that counts. It's knowing that you treasure somebody enough to to sacrifice what you love the most in order to give them a good gift. And I really like that story. It has a good, I feel like it has a good message. It's a good story. even when you don't have a lot. The gift of love is what means the most. The gift of treasuring somebody enough to give up what you love the most, or to give up your most treasured possession. I'm not saying you have to give up your most treasured possession, but just whatever you give, whether it's a gift, whether it's love, whether it's, I don't know, anything. It's not what, maybe it's that it's not what the person receives, but it's what you're willing to give. I guess it kind of goes both ways. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna go finish my lips. I'll be right back. And there we go. That's me done. Okay, so this, I feel like it's definitely a little more toned down. This is the look that I would wear just in really any time of the, I would wear anytime out. I feel like it's still a little Christmassy. We got the red and the gold and the green. We've got some Christmas colors, but it's fairly toned down. And I don't think my husband will die of Christmas overload with this look, so that's always good. But there we go. There we go. Anyway, I felt like what I was trying to say rather inaptly at first. We're gonna try it again. See if I do it better this time. But whatever you give or receive, or if you just actually, it's not about giving or receiving. It's about being with the people you love, and whatever, if you sacrifice, or actually it is about giving and receiving, whether it's love, whether it's gifts, whether it's your time, or anything really. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season with your families. Make sure you treasure those families and just enjoy the time you have with them. And I think that's it. I think I'm done. So please remember to smash that like and subscribe button down below, just down there, and for more awesome content from me. And I will see you tomorrow with another look and story. And I hope you guys enjoyed today. I know, sorry, we're working on the smoothness. We'll get there. I know today was a little choppy, but we'll get there. And please make sure that you treat everyone with kindness and respect. Everyone has a story. We don't know what it is. And just have that joy in your season, in your life. And have an awesome rest of your day. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.